Alrighty. Hello everybody. This is Kirisho here, and now, before I do begin, let me give a brief little review. In the last part, a lot of things have been happening. Now, Izuku, he has done quite a bit of things in the last couple weeks. And right now, we had a reunion between him and the other heroes. Now, they have arrived in the kingdom of Vanja, and they're currently inside the capital city. When the king heard of their arrival, he was skeptical, but upon learning that four of the chosen heroes were coming to his land, he was worried. At first, whenever they came, he did not expect much. Then he saw who they were. In his mind, he started to build them up over time. But they're children, younger than his son. But the tactics, the way they talk, the way they carry themselves and strategize with each other, even though they're from different parts of the world, it's rather intriguing. One has interacted with the Fae, that they do know. One they have heard tale of, and the other two come from faraway land. And this does mean a bit. However, there was Deku. Deku was quite surprised about how everyone is. Ochako is carrying herself with more strength, Bakugo with more humility, and Kirishima, he is carrying himself with a bit more passion, a bit more power. Yeah, he's not going to let you just toss him around or throw him around. He seems well on his feet and ready for combat, though you really shouldn't be surprised. He was trained by an orc. Now, the group, they gathered in the courtyard, and Deku and Bakugo, they had a battle, where it was drawn to a close by the princess, who was concerned with them training out here since they're throwing around powerful abilities. But the two were just getting warmed up. And that ended with them going to join the king for lunch and Izuku learning about his sword. When he revealed that this was Darksteel, she told him one simple sentence. His weapon is as hard as adamantine, and it is highly durable. The fact he does have it means quite a bit. And this, it told him much. Why dwarves stare at him when he walks by with his weapon. Why people tend to try and get a look at it. The idea that he's carrying around something so powerful, so valuable, does mean a bit. And not only that, if they knew it was enchanted, everyone would practically beg for a peek whenever he draws the blade. And this, it's now going across his mind. Though he got a chance to talk with Pyra when they went to bed. We do currently have the next morning. The group, they do get to rise early. Deku going to get out of bed and make his way downstairs to train. As right now, whenever he does get started, he does get to find everyone up and about for the same reasons. And we do have a bit later. They were able to spar in the courtyard and see their progress. And Deku, he is a bit more surprised at Ochako's. She's become more of a swordswoman. And she definitely has been playing a bit more offensively. She may not have had a chance to use magic during their fight, but she is a little fast. And you can tell that out of all of them, she might have the most whenever it does come to spellcasting. The most spells under her belt. I mean, she's explained her ability before. She doesn't get tired as often. And she doesn't need as much rest. She's gotten the most out of this year, and she's used it to become quite powerful. And we do have the rest of their party members due to join them. Rhino Elsa making her way over to Bakugo, and Pyra does get a walk over and sit down next to Izuku. Rhino, him turning his head and seeing Mogak, and turning and going to see Ochako. Right now with her quote-unquote party member. As he does going to make a comment to Bakugo, looking up and putting some of the fruit into his mouth. So, so, what's up? Got a little bit of a hairball? No, not really. Though I do have a bit of a question. How do you not poke your eye out? This being where Chaco does a choke on her breakfast. Kirishima going to somewhat laugh as Izuku, he does go to bring up a piece of the bread he does have. It soft and a little sugary. Going to take a bite of it. Bakugo going to cover his mouth and try to think of a response to that. Before he does get a turn as Elsa does grab onto his arm, asking what he's talking about. And he does go to express. Come on, it's like handlebars, isn't it? Now Chaco expressing, okay, that might be a step too far. I kinda deserved that one after last time. Yeah, I think that was a bit too far, actually. Them both looking at Kirishima, talking about it. I mean, that one was funny, but still, man, really? This came to mind. Besides, he started it. Okay, you two don't start this up. We still got about what? 3 days? Maybe a little bit more than that. Timer is counting down and noon approaches in what, 5 hours? After that, we've got 2. That's true. It is. So, I'm guessing that your familiar ability is with dragon scales? It is. Yours? Storm magic. Bakugo bring his hand up. A small cloud forming, talking about it, as lightning does charge in his hand. It's incredibly powerful from what he's heard. And it is a bit of a pain, though Ember is a nice companion. I'm guessing you got it after Chaco talked to you about him? I did, but I've also heard about getting one before. I mean, I knew there would be a benefit, but not a skill. Until she told me about your companion and her experience. Ham-tarting. Asking her about hers. I can teleport. Seriously? Blinkhound. Well, Blink Pup, I guess. He's not full grown, and Selfier, he'll get bigger soon. Yeah. And yours is you can swim through Earth? Yep. So, you got a magical ability out of it, and we got skills. Well, it's classified as a skill. I guess temporary until. I don't want to think about that. Yeah, same here. Though, you mentioned before that your dragon, Aztog, he was small? The size of a cat, actually. He wasn't as big. And right now, he's about the size of a dog. He's about doubled in size. I mean, I thought he was just hunting more and kind of getting fatter, but apparently not. I noticed it after I was gone for a month. A month? The S rank. Right, sorry. You're fine. So are all our companions gonna do that? I mean, get huge? Well, I mean, griffins are gonna get big. So is my companion. Yeah, I want to say the smallest one here is actually going to be Ochakos. But if our companions are feeding off of our mana reserves, then they might become an apex. What do you mean? Well, I mean, I've never heard of it before, but we're from a different world. We've got blessings, right? So it's fair to say that our abilities are granted to our familiar. Is that true? Deku bring his hand up. Right now, holding it out and manifesting a dragon the size of a dog that does glow red. Talking about it. This is one of his abilities. It happened shortly after, well, his trade. It took some time to manifest, but it's there. Turning back, asking Ochako if her hound has much endurance. Her turning to the dog, knowing that it is very energetic, and that could be a possible explanation. Though they do get a look at Kirishima, wondering about what his companion's ability might be. A lesser form of his, maybe? I mean, still, that could be very useful to them. Though Bakugo does try to think about what his companion is, and how that ability might manifest. I mean, that's right. It does make sense what he's saying. But that's dangerous. All of them talking a bit more about this. And eventually the king, he does go to awaken, beginning to try and get things prepared for the day, and finding that the heroes have already been awake for a few hours. As right now they're training out in the private yard for the knights. And they have been doing quite a bit. Right now, someone observing them, and they are being seen by people who are having trouble catching up with their speed, watching the four spar and battle. Deku and Ochako going back and forth. As right now, they do try to look for more information about the event, when high noon does roll around, and nothing does pop up. They do talk about a few things more. They do hang out, and they do even try to take this last day to relax. It's going to mean a bit. They can use healing magic or even Deku's ability, and after that, they can be ready. Get a good night's rest with healed muscles, and then tomorrow, get things prepared. It does mean a lot. After tomorrow, things are going to change. And there is, at high noon, they do have the information come in from their system. It expressing to many of them that the event will start in less than 24 hours. Right now, they are going to be known that Kaldi is where the event will be taking place. The large oasis nearby is being threatened by a elemental cataclysm, and it is their job to take it out or banish it from this realm. The event will last for the next 3 months. And this, it does gonna make all of them stare at that. 3 months? 3 freaking months? There's no way that that can work. But what happens if the event ends? Them trying to look for any sort of sign, anything that can happen. Though it doesn't tell them what happens then. If it's pulled back to where it came from, or if it remains on the material plane. And that it does worry all of them. And the king, whenever he does go to see the heroes talking about things, even one of them calling a meeting in the war room, they're informed about the location. The idea that Kaldi, a large city in the desert, is being threatened is bad. And that place is part of the backbone for their trade. If that place gets knocked out, a lot of things could get taken down. And he'd rather not have his entire empire collapse under this creature. Though hearing about it being an elemental cataclysm, he does try to order his court mages to find as much information as they can on this creature. And they do report back with some less than favorable results. Not much information is known. There are stories, there are tales, but that is really it. And there is even a mention in an old book about a creature that had multiple heads and great power. It came tearing out of the sky, and it raged on for a long time, until one day it died, and in its spot, a forest rose. And that, it does mean a lot. There's that. The idea that they have to take this thing on and it's going to be dangerous does have some of them pumped. It's got others terrified. And the king, he does try to get his troops ready and in order, trying to understand about what the heroes want them to do. Right now, he may be the figurehead, but they have control over how this might go. And everyone, they just stand there, well aware that this might be outside the range of their party members. And Izuku does turn, trying to inform them. They can do a lot, but right now they need everyone to be safe. As we do actually have where Indra does step forwards with Oliver. The two both trying to talk about it. With their abilities, they can help. Both turning to look at each other. And Deku does see that, as he does a turn looking at the other members of the parties. Mogak is one of the only ones who do step forwards. And he does go try and look over at Bakugo's party members. The tiefling man, he does stand there, trying to think. And there is even Elza. Elza isn't much of a warrior. From what his skills picked up, she's not high enough of a level. She's a 4-foot tall dragon chick. She's not a warrior. He's not trying to be mean, but if this thing can take out them, she'll be slaughtered. In this, it does have him a little bit worried. Right now, this passing through his mind. And Bakugo, he does have a similar thought. Before he does turn to his companions and talk about it. Anyone who is not fighting with them needs to know. They'll try and handle things in the city. Kaldi is in danger. They can try and use time to evacuate the city. Tell people where to go and let them know. If people don't want to evacuate, then when the event does start, that will give them a reason. They'll try and buy time. Keep it far away. But if the city does fall under threat, under siege, they can't do much about it. They were stubborn. And sometimes being stubborn can bite you in the ass. Him saying this with a sour expression. And Izuku, he doesn't say a word. He nods his head and confirms this. Everyone trying to understand what to do. Going over combat tactics and magic types they all do wield. And there is where the day does come to an eventual end. And the next morning, they get prepared. They get ready. Right now, they do go to head off. And Izuku, he does feel great strain in his heart. He does kiss Pyra goodbye. And he does head off for battle. She's terrified for him. She's always afraid. But right now he isn't. He wants to know what his powers can do. He wants to see how far he can push himself. If his abilities can grow as powerful as he does think, then he's curious of one other thing. Is there a limit? He's fairly certain that right now as he is, he's stronger than All Might. And that goal, that wall he had before in his mind, it's long since been shattered. He's become a hero. And today is a day for heroes. Now, we do have for the group, they do go to fly in the air, talking about a few things. All of them levitating and talking about it. They don't see anything. I don't see anything either. Is this thing supposed to pop up or something? Not sure. Guys, them turning to Oliver, who does sit on a flying broom, talking about it. Maybe they should talk about this a bit more. They go flying over, telling his friend he doesn't have a flying skill. Is he sure he doesn't want to help out in Kaldi? Dude, come on, I can fight. Oliver, you can. There's no shame in retreat. Are you sure? I'm sure. Besides, if this thing's as big as they say it is, then we're basically fighting an ancient dragon. Oh, right. Uh, Listen, man, buy me some ale later and we can call it even. Besides, him smacking his friend in the arm, talking about it. He's fairly certain it's going to be hard to swing around a hammer with one hand. I mean, he's nearly about to break the broom. And that's an even worse idea. Him nodding his head. He's going to turn and fly away quickly on the broom. Him going to somewhat turn back and go to have his cloak vanish, donning a pair of black gauntlets. And everyone, they do stare at that. For Zuko, he does go to don the shoulder pads and the armor. It going to manifest on his torso and him going to bring his hand up, patting it as he would stare at the rough surface, asking exactly what that is. That's from the giant spider. The giant what? Giant spider. Large, massive beast about the size of two giant buses wrapped together. And that was just its torso. Legs might as well have been tree limbs. Oh, that's disgusting. Oh, it was. Talked in a horrible language, too. You spoke to it? Yeah. Poor conversationalist. Them going to somewhat talk about it. Baco being the only one who does laugh. Talking about how, yeah, they've all dealt with some pretty strange things. And there is where the sky, it does suddenly turn pure gray. Them watching on, where it does it turn into a bright and colorful orange. In that it does get accompanied by a portal, along the sound alerting them about the start of this event, and how likely it is they may survive. The event is going to be a event that will give them many rewards if they can complete it. Whoever deals the highest amount of damage will receive a unique reward. And the fact is, they will also receive additional points for participating in it. Now, everyone, they do to watch on, watching the sky as it does begin to appear. A large gust of wind being accompanied by its arrival. And right now, they do to watch on as in the distance, it does come crashing down to the ground. And they do go to see it. Large, massive. And right now, they are concerned about a lot of things. That thing in the distance has 4 giant serpent-like heads that they see. And from what they can tell, it is on all fours. Right now, they need to go after it. See what more they can do about it. And the creature, it does begin to turn their way, starting to march towards the city as Deku, he does talk about a few things. Using message and trying to tell the others. He can potentially try and distract it. See what you can do. It might take a bit of time, but Sub-Zero magic could be good here. You're at disadvantage. What about heat? Maybe, but what about my ability? We're around sand, right? That's Geo. That's my element. Them understanding. Allowing Kirishima to fly forwards. Right now, him using the spell and going to come down to the ground. And the creature, it does continue its march. Him bringing his hands up and smash them down to the sand, wondering exactly if this will work. And he does begin to try and control his breathing, as large spikes begin to shoot up directly in front of him, them smashing out in towards the elemental, crashing into the large creature and going to spread out. Him trying to create a border wall that it cannot pass through. Trying to create a perimeter it will need to go around. Buy more time for the city to evacuate its people. And the elemental does come crashing through the wall, stepping forwards and going to roar out with one of its large heads, blasting water directly down at him. And he does a flying up into the air, going to evade. As Rhino 1 does try to blast lightning, and he does it a flight to the right. Talking about it. Okay, he might need a bit of a hand here. Ochako bring her hands up. Before she does go to bring it up and go to use her magic. Casting magic missiles and crashing it directly into the side. The creature going to take the brunt of the attacks and going to turn, roaring out in pain as she has noticed that did something. And it does have its soul focus turned totally on her. Now, it does make her a little concerned, as right now, it does go to burst forwards. It going to send an attack that does go to nearly hit her, sending out a massive gout of flame, before sending out a massive gout of lightning. In this, it does concern her. The earth elemental head turning its way towards her and blasting out spikes. Her bringing her hands up and going to create barriers. As right now Deku, he does come flying in, screaming to Kirishima that he needs a damn boost. They need to take it out right. And he does confirm this. Before he does, going to bring his hand up and roar out his ability. And everyone, they immediately feel themselves jump by leaps. Deku's physical skills, they feel amazing. And right now his magical abilities are soaring through the damn roof. Indra flying around, as right now she's going to feel that boost to her abilities as well. Though Izuku, he does want to pour with spirit. Bakugo pouring with intimidation. And Ochako, she feels her endurance quadruple. Right now her no longer needing to worry about her mana reserves. Bring her hands up and going to fire a Gatling burst of raw magic. And these things, when they do hit it, it does come smashing into it. As Deku, he does go flying in, quickly going to bring his hand up and blast out with a giant ball of ice. It crashes in the stomach of the elemental, before it does begin to turn its head towards him. The fire elemental going to crash out, going to crash forwards with flame. Deku bring his head up and going to send a burst of water directly from his hand. Right now him freezing around him and turning, bringing his hand up and going to do one thing. Create multiple clones as he has to pour hot water through the air and go to create steam. The steam rising up as Deku does not fly upwards, thinking about what to do. And the copies of him do get to fly around, them to distract one of the heads as he does yell about it. Right now Bakugo rushing in, flying forwards and going to bring his hand up, sending a blast of lightning directly down and into the creature. And this seemingly has no effect. This worrying him, concerned about what they can do. And he does relay the information. As right now Deku does go flying forwards, him covered in a massive amount of spiritual armor, his aura practically bleeding around him as if he's in the center of a fire. And his sword does come slashing through and into the creature's chest. Him hearing a sound as is a screech out in pain. And this, it is not good. It's trying to swing with its large arms towards him, before he does a rolling backwards and going to fly up into the air, bring his head up and going to blast it down with wind. And that, it doesn't do very much. Right now him going to bring his hand up and try to think. Trying to use will manipulation in his ability, it doesn't work. Shit. Did you do damage? I thought I did. Apparently not. Him bringing his hand up and talking about it. He needs time. Flying backwards in the air as his Grimoire does manifest. Asking Ochako if she can buy them time. Her nodding and talking about it. As everyone, they do try to do what they can. And this, it does mean a bit. Bakugo flying forwards and roaring out with his own skill. As when he does it do so, the creature, it does turn its aggro towards him. It, feeling the sound, reverberate through its being. But it isn't enough. It does begin to feel cracks starting to form, but those quickly do begin to heal. And that does mean a bit. Before Deku, he does go to bring his hand up and cast out the Winter Storm. And whenever it does go to form thousands of rooms in the air, people do turn looking around, flying away from it as he doesn't hit it with heat magic. He hits it with water magic, ice magic, and wind magic. It going to bombard the creature with the entirety of those elements. And he does a turn, flying up to Choco and asking if she likes the modification. What did you... It's a spell, right? Modified it a bit. Was hoping to do more, but it's powerful. Right. I think it's immune to our elements. Elemental attacks. Lightning, water, earth, fire. Yeah, at this rate, then it may not work. Do you think that it's immune to poison? I wouldn't be surprised. Though, we do need a proper plan. Indra flying in, her flames bright blue as she does go try and slash the elemental cataclysm across the back with her talons, her roaring out with massive gouts of blue flame. And Izuku does see that. Before he does go to message her, telling her to fall back. It's immune to flame attacks. And she does get annoyed. Her flying backwards as Deku does talk about it. Okay. So they can banish it, right? We can, but it'll take time. And something this big, this powerful, it's gonna take a bit of my mana. I'd have to stop attacking, but if I do, I've got maybe 2-3 tries in it. But that's being generous, Izuku. The moment we deactivate this, I'll have to, refuel. Got it. So we need to buy you time. I need to stay still for probably about 2 minutes. Think that you can do that? Him staring down, asking Bakugo and Kirishima if they think that's possible. And both of them, they are trying to attack this thing's legs, take it out, and make sure it cannot go anywhere. And Kirishima, he does go crashing into its leg with his axe, it slicing across its body and doing a little bit of damage. As he does talk about it, Bakugo moving across the other leg with a flaming sword. That he's not too sure, flying backwards and away at higher speeds. And Izuku, he does go to express, flying back towards the battlefield and trying to draw its attention. Him getting in close to his blade and seeing a whirlwind slash across the side of its body. And this, it does go to strike the thing in the side and hit into its shoulder. The thing, roaring into the stone, does heavily crack and break. This surprising Deku, looking back down at his blade and seeing that. Okay, they can pile on damage. He made a weak point. But that's not it. Him flying backwards and away as the creature does go to aim ahead towards him. Deku alarmed and bringing his hands together before he is directly attacked by a jet of lightning. It smashing into him as he's a roar out in pain. This alarming him as he sent flying backwards, crashing into the sand. And the creature, it is moving slowly but surely. Right now it going to roar out and begin focusing his attacks towards him. And Kirishima, he does get to see that. Before he does go flying up into the air and trying to gain its attention, gain its aggro. And that isn't exactly going too well for him right now. As there is where Deku, he does try to focus, coming back to his feet after healing himself. And this ordeal definitely is not something he wants to experience again. As right now, he does go to blast out flames directly at the creature. It going to roar out towards him as he does go flying down, bring his hand up, and going to make his weapon and go to block the lightning, throwing it back down at the creature, watching as it does take the attack effortlessly. And he does this little grimace. Before there is Bakugo, he has a roar with intimidation trying to slow the creature down, and nothing can be done. Wanting to know what more he can do, he can manifest his ability, but that would not do him too much good. Okay, they need something. And we do actually have Deku. Deku's ability, level 6, amplified 4 times. He does go to roar up with his aura, and it does begin to grow. Him creating a massive guardian, it getting bigger, 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 getting to the size of a giant, and then going to enlarge more. And the Cataclysm, it does turn its attention back to the large creature in front of it. And Izuku, he does stand there at its heart, bringing his hands up, as right now, the giant guardian does form that of one of his spirit warriors. And it does a rushing forwards into the sand, it stomping down and smashing the Cataclysm as hard as it can in the face. And this does catch everyone off guard. Deku going to bring his hand up and grabbing for its heads, grabbing 2 of them as the water elemental does bite down directly onto one shoulder, the earth biting down to the other, him trying to gain its bearing on lightning and fire. And this isn't doing him too good. Before he does get a turn, going to push this thing backwards and pick it up, going to smash it into the ground and bring his foot down, crashing it directly into the chest of the large creature. And it does a roar out and begin to attack them, sending gouts of fire directly towards Indra. Him going to watch as Indra does a fly backwards, and Kirishima, he does get struck with something. Right now, him going to turn, watching as Bakugo, who does try to evade, does get struck by some lightning. Him roaring out in pain and turning, blasting down with storm magic directly at the creature. And this isn't good. Right now, him going to bring his hands up and switching. As he does, there's a volley of explosives directly down into its side. The head going to roar out in pain as it does take the attack. And Deku, he does see that. Bakugo flying around and trying to gain its attention more, trying to gain its ire more. And right now, Deku, he does try to think, wondering about what they can do. It's powerful. It is dangerous. It won't let them get away. Right now, they've got to worry about this. Okay. It's made up of 4 elements, right? It's got resistance to most of them. So, going off the idea it can't use that, then... Shit. Would ice work on it? No. That's part of it, right? Okay. But what more can they do? This giant creature going to roar out. It saying something that Deku can understand. And this does alarm him. He does want to ask it a question, but it won't stop. It's evil. And that it is shoved to the back of his mind. As Kirishima, he does come flying in, crashing down and going to hit the creature with his light magic. It going to take this shot and roar out in pain, turning and trying to swat him. Deku was saying that. It took the attack. Deku turning to Bakugo and roaring out that he needs to try and use more explosions. Don't use what it's made of. And that does go through Bakugo's head. Deku rushing forwards and smashing back into the elemental, trying to hold it still. Trying to keep it still. And Ochako does get to finally cast her spell. The runes being to rip apart into the sand and into the ground. The giant glow surrounding it. And Deku, he does try to think about what to do. For the elemental, it does go flying up into the air. It doing so and taking Deku with it. before it does go to move out of the way and crash directly down into the desert with him. His giant construct going to smash him from the mental recoil in his mind as he does try to pull back what he can of that energy. Right now, trying to fly out of the way of its large feet, nearly being struck by it and potentially crushed. As he does fly up into the air and try to think, wondering more about what to do. Okay. Yeah, that hurt. Going to bring his hand up, focusing on his power and feeling something heal. But it doesn't feel physical. That wasn't pain like that. He does a stir on, wondering about what he can do. Before he does try to pull on his spirit ability and the creature, it does going to manifest once. Seeing that and realizing, okay, so as it levels up, it gets stronger. The time is less. Right. It's significantly weaker though. Going to wrap around the creature and wearing it as armor. Thinking about how to handle this. Okay. That was step one. Through what? Going to bring his hand up and blasting it with raw magic. Ochako trying to ask them exactly what they can do, flying back around the front of it. And the creature, it does try to swat them. However, they are trying to make sure to use speed to their advantage. Though this thing's many heads do make that a definite challenge. As there is with Deku, he does go to fly up to Bakugo and Kirishima, asking Bakugo exactly if he does have another magic, another type. Shadow. Good. Use it. Fine. But what else? I don't know. I'm planning things out. You're planning things out? I am. Trust me on this. I'm working my best. Kirishima? Yeah? Do you know when your deactivation starts? Him going to look down, talking about how they've still got 2 more minutes left. Shit. Okay. That's not good. It isn't. Though, it's not making its way towards the city. I'm watching. The creature moving forwards and trying to attack Ochako, as she does still fire raw magic missiles directly at the creature. And Deku, he is trying to think of another spell that can help. Though, he does that turn, asking exactly if Bakugo and Kirishima can use their magics. Light and dark. Really? What are you going to do? I'm planning that out. Listen, just trust me for right now, okay? Are you sure? I am. I really hope that this does work. Them understanding, as right now the two do go flying back in, trying not to waste time as the monster, it does take 2 attacks in its shoulders. It's going to roar out and then going to look down and seeing those 2. As right now Deku, he does try to think of a plan. Try to think of something. Okay. His ability, his weapon, and what else? What can he use? Slice into its stomach? Its torso seems to be odd. Its body is mostly made up of stone, right? There's 4 large heads and no clear way to take it out. Shit. Okay. It's got those strange water lines on its torso, though, so what else could it do? What else could it be? I mean, taking the heads off is going to be a challenge, but destroy the body? That's the only real solid mass that can hit, other than the stone head. Okay, is this thing like a gargoyle? Or, shit, a hydra would be worse. This passing through his mind, as he does get ready, going to create wings and go to run forwards, running quickly across the sand and rushing into the air, as right now Deku does come flying in, slashing up across its back as he does use Whirlwind Slash, the creature roaring out and trying to spin. Deku going to catch up by the side of the head and slice into the Earth Elemental, using the same ability again and feeling the strain it is going to put on his muscles. However, he doesn't watch as cracks to begin to form in that thing's head. It roaring out and going to turn. It screeching out in pain as Deku does go flying past. Him taking a shot to the back before he does go crashing down to the ground. Heading down quickly as someone does come flying over. Bakugo bringing his hand up and picking Deku into the air. Before he does go to get pulled out of the way and thrown away from the battle. Deku regaining his bearing and turning, creating wings on his back again to fly through the air as Bakugo doesn't let him go. For he's going to take a powerful blast from the water elemental. And the earth elemental does get to try and turn back, going to rear for an attack as Kirishima does a blasting Doki in to its head, trying to take this thing down and out. And Ochako just blasts a magic missile down at the earth elemental, hoping that that attack Deku used could take out its head. If they take down one, they improve their chances significantly. In Izuku, he does get back to his feet, feeling the pain rip through his muscles, and he does get to heal his ability. Looking back up and seeing the damage. And right now, he really does wish they had more to do, as he does hear stone cracking, getting back up and flying into the air. And this, it does mean a bit. Him soaring up back towards this thing's neck, seeing his attacks on it, for he does aim for the same spot towards the middle, going to step in with a quick attack and slashing Doki in to its neck, him trying to slice as deeply as he can. And when he does so, his blade does go to cut in and explode with poison, explode with magma. And this does cause Deku to roar back, the large creature roaring out as its head does come off, before it does crumple down to stone and smash to the ground. And the creature does roar out in extreme aggression. Deku trying to fly backwards and trying to get away, his blade going to quickly make short work of the heat trying to permeate through it. And he does stare at the monster, bringing his hand up and trying to think of a spell, trying to think of something that can work here. And right now he does have one simple idea, going to blast Doki forwards with the fire elemental as he does try to use a cold slash. Right now Bakugo going to blast Doki in to the spot on his leg he's been attacking, and the stone does get a crack significantly more. The elemental attempting to heal its damage, however, it is also attempting to try and heal its lost head, and that it is wearing it down a bit. As right now Deku, he does go to miss his strike whenever the elemental does go to shift its head, him trying to slash out as the creature does a turn, blasting towards him as he does go to send him slash out with water. It going to rip into the elemental's attack. However, it doesn't protect him fully. Him going to be sent flying backwards and going to do one simple thing, going to cover his body in frost to burn away the flames. And this does work. Deku going to re-even himself back out and send a volley of water attacks Doki at the head, targeting it specifically. And Bakugo, he does try to blast Doki into the water elemental's head once again. Ochako flying in and blasting this thing, bombarding it in the back, hoping this damage can all carry on. There are portions of it that are not healing. There are many. And they have begun to show. But without Kirishima's ability active anymore, they are barely scratching it. I mean, this is bad. Very freaking bad. Retreat is not an option. And right now, if they do so, it will try and head for the city again. Ochako relaying this information, asking them about what they should do. And he does go flying up, the Cataclysm turning its attention towards Izuku. And he does stare at that, all three heads trying to blast at him with their power, as he does go to fly Doki to the right as fast as possible, roaring out about how he thinks he pissed it off. and it does going to try and track him. Him turning to the city and seeing it. Before he does, going to shift to the left and begin to blast out towards the creature, trying to keep its attention on him. And this thing, it does begin to move quickly. Him going to watch that as he does try to lead it deeper and deeper into the desert. This thing hot on his heels and seeing out multiple attacks. As the group, they are trying to get their bearings and reevaluate where they are, waiting for Kirishima's ability to recharge. And with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed, and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.